Hey class, it's Ms. Brody here. Gosh, I hope this finds you all having a wonderful summer. And I don't know about you, but I am absolutely in shock that we are approaching our ninth week for the class to be going. And I just have to say it's been a wonderful semester with all of you. You have just been just such an exemplary class. And I have just loved reading all of your discussion posts and your comments. And I've loved so much seeing you really help each other. This has just been such a rewarding experience for me, and I really hope that it has been for you as well. And the reason I wanted to do this video tonight is we're soon approaching, well, we are approaching, we're sort of in the middle of this, is our argument essay. And I know that this essay can really kind of put people over the edge sometimes. It can be a real challenge. But I want to just kind of talk a little bit about it because I want to give you a few tips and a few things that I want you to really focus on while you are writing this essay. So hopefully the annotated bibliography that you're working on that's due tomorrow night is going to really help you as far as gathering all of your research and that sort of thing. But also, I just want you, when you are approaching this essay, and I may have talked about this earlier in the semester in another video, but as you're approaching this essay, I want you to be thinking that you are in a court of law. And that's the way this essay needs to be written. You need to pretend that what you are preparing, this content that you are comparing, is something that would hold up in court. And so when I say that, what I'm meaning is that it needs to be very logos driven. So you can definitely, I want you to have both pathos and ethos in it. But everything that you do, any pathos especially that you put into your essay, needs to be then supported again with the logos, with the stats. And so what it would be like is if I were in court and I went to a judge and I just spilled my guts and told him my sob story, the judge would tell me, okay, nice story, I've heard it a million times, you're out, prove it. And so that's what you want to be thinking is anything that you put in this essay, you want to be able to prove it. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's just really, proving this essay. The other thing that you need to keep in mind too is that you need to have that counter argument. You're going to want to have at least three different counter arguments. And I know that you've already had the quiz on this and all of that, but just a quick refresher. You want to pick the strongest counter arguments that you can, the ones that oppose your stance the most. And you might think, oh gosh, that'll weaken my paper, but no, it doesn't. But then the burden that you have then is that you need to come in, and I like to say, I hate one-upping, but it's one-upping. You want to one-up that counter argument with a great rebuttal that then you come in and you shut it down. So you say, let's say that we were doing animal testing and I said, PETA opposes the testing of cosmetics on animals because of this, this, and this. And then if I were on the side to have animals tested, I would say, okay, however, PETA makes this claim, however, statistics have shown blah, blah, blah. And so you shut it down. And that's how you want to make sure that you're doing that in your essay with your counter argument. And so I'm going to run through real quick. I'm going to do a share screen, and I haven't done this like all summer, so I hope that I am okay. I got pretty good at it and then got not so good at it. But I want to go in here, and I had it up. Where is it? It's not writing us all of these. It's not that one. Is it this one? Nope. Yes, here we go. Okay, so hopefully we're sharing now. And this is the outline that I actually have for you that's for this week, week 9. This is an example of what the outline needs to look like. And something I want to just talk about with an outline again is just you want to remember that an outline, you don't want to have to write your paper twice. Now, granted, you're going to have a bit more information in this outline because of the length of the paper and the amount of research that you have to have than you might with others, but you still want to think grocery list. Like, when you go to the grocery store, you don't write down, I'm going to go to aisle 5 and I'm going to get eggs and bacon and toast. You just write down bacon, eggs, toast. And that's really kind of the way you do want to be thinking about your outline so that you don't have to write it twice. Something that I always did is I would, within my research, I would do, like for the first supporting section, for the first key section, I would color code it. So I would say, okay, everything in, it's not a very good color to pick, but anything for this key point in my research, I'm going to highlight it this color. And then I would highlight this one a different color. So, and I hope this is making sense without showing you guys. So then everything that pertains in my research that I'm finding, anything that pertains to this key point, I'm going to highlight it red. And then I'm going to give this a color. I don't really like my color choices. Okay, there's a color. And then I'm going to give my forest supporting a color. I'm going to give the intro a color, the background section a different color. So then what you're doing is you are going through with your research, and you can either do it through the computer, or if you print out your research of things you want to use, you can highlight that information. You go through, okay, this works for key point 1 on this page, this, so for instance, like this section here, let's say this was an article. This section fits for key point, the second key point. Okay, that's for there. And then this next sentence here, oh, okay, that fits key point 3. So I'm going to turn it green. Does that make sense? I hope. So that's a way that I did research, was by color coordinating each of the, giving a key point in every section of the essay, giving it some kind of a color, so that when I'm going through my research, I can quickly highlight the information and pick out what I want, highlight it with that color, and then I can go back and just say, okay, now I'm going to work on my first supporting section. I'm going to go through all of my research. I'm only going to have to look at things that are colored, highlighted with this color. So anyway, I hope this is making sense, but this was a format that or just sort of a little formula that I devised as a student writing, I don't know, a million essays with my writing master's in writing. So I'm hoping that might help you guys a little bit too. Now, the other thing that you want to be looking at here is notice that this changes a bit from the critical analysis, the format. There's an additional factor to this. So you have your introduction section where you have a hook, your thesis, that's normal, okay? Then you've got this section. This is the new one. This is the background section that you really need to have. And I'm going to use this example. I had a student one semester that wrote a paper on why hemp should be legalized. And, you know, I will be honest, I thought that hemp and marijuana were the same thing. I didn't understand that hemp is, you know, minus the THC. So I, you know, explained to the student, I said, that would be an opposing side, is people thinking that it's tied to marijuana, and that would be a big reason why they wouldn't want it legal. Well, what the student did in his background section is he went through and he explained the history of hemp, how hemp has been used throughout history, and he, you know, really debunked that whole thing and gave me very factual information on how hemp is different, how useful it is, and that sort of thing. So then by the time I got done with his background section, I was really open to going forward and saying, okay, so it's not the same thing. It doesn't have THC. So this is pretty cool. So now we can go through and see why, you know, this hemp should be legalized. And I was really open. I understood his topic so much better. So really what the idea of the background section is to help you to really understand what this is. You know, what is my topic? You guys have some amazing topics. I'm actually really excited. A lot of them are ones I've not had before. But in order to have a true argument, or to really be able to truly persuade someone, you do need to have information on the topic, because if they don't even understand what your topic is, they're not going to get persuaded either way. They just aren't, they're going to be lost. And so that's why that background section is so important. Now, I will caution you, the background section should be absolutely no more than a page. It just shouldn't, because you don't want to go on, and then you're getting into a research paper without the argument part of it. And so don't do it any more than 1 page long, because you want to jump into that you want to really jump into the argument. Okay, and then the rest of it is set up just like the other essay. Okay, so you've got your first supporting section that we're going to say totally stuck on vaccines are safe. Then we're going to do the second supporting section. Vaccines build the immune system. Third supporting section, vaccines protect communities as a whole. So this is just a standard essay. If you have 4 key points, then of course you'll just do the same thing, vaccines save lives. And that's just normal. That's the normal essay, just like a 5-paragraph essay that you wrote in high school. And then a 5-section essay that we just did with the critical analysis. Now we're going in and we're just adding some things to it, but the middle part of it, there's no difference. Counter argument. Where can counter argument go? Again, hopefully this is just a refresher for you. Counter argument can go in the introduction, and as a matter of fact, it can be a pretty compelling way to start. Again though, what must you do with counter? You must refute it. You must refute it better and stronger than the counter argument itself. Then background section, you would not want to put counter. Any of the key points is where counter argument really flows nicely. And so here I've showed you counter argument here, here, and again, you only have to have 3, so you don't have to have it in every key point. You might have it in your intro, and then you might have it for your first section and maybe your last 2. Totally up to you. The way you want to look at that is, my suggestion to you is to go ahead and start writing the essay. Get it written, get those key points supported, and then you can go through and you'll kind of see where that counter argument is going to naturally lie. And so it would be as if, you're having a conversation, you and I are having a conversation, and I'm telling you about why vaccines are safe, this one here. And then you come back and you say, well, I've heard they're not safe because of, and then you're like, oh, okay, so that counter argument is going to go well here. So I hope this is making sense in that you really get to decide where it goes, but you also want to pick the best possible spot. What you cannot do, well, I guess you could, but you're going to get marked down for it, would be what a lot of students will make the mistake of is they go through and support everything, and then their last 2 pages is just counter argument, one after the other. That you absolutely don't want to do. And the reason you don't want to do that is that that's not natural argument. If we're having an argument, I don't talk for 10 minutes and then don't talk again and let you talk for 10 minutes and then we're done. You want to have that natural bantering back and forth with this essay. And so hopefully that will really help you. And then just remembering your concluding section, you could literally copy and paste your intro, revise it a bit, and you've got it done. The only thing that needs to be word for word though, more than likely, is your thesis statement, okay? So this is the outline. And again, I do have this on section 9 so that you have it. You will have to turn in an outline. Please do not try to do this essay without an outline. I think you guys have all done a great job with doing outlines so far. It's been very obvious in the quality of your essays. They've been outstanding. This one here is especially important that you do a good outline, because it is your friend. Once you get the outline done, you just have to kind of glance and, oh, okay, and it writes itself. So it's really, you think, oh, it takes more time, but in actuality, an outline actually saves you hours of time. It truly does. So again, I'll put this on for you, and then you will be able to look at this for an example. Now, something else I did want to tell you guys also, and I'm going to come down here and I'm actually going to add it while I'm talking to you. And this is that this essay must be in formal tone. So what does formal tone mean? That means that you have to avoid the use of personal pronouns. What do I mean by that? Personal pronouns: I, we, you, our, us. Is that everything? Let's see, I, we, you, our, us. Yeah. And so instead, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to say something like, for instance, if I'm talking in an impersonal tone, I would say, informal tone, I would say, we all need to get together and change society on this issue to help the world. And you notice how I said we all need to, okay? That's informal tone. You do not want to have it. And it's actually kind of hard to train the brain, to train your brain to go through and actually, transform everything and avoid those uses of personal pronouns, because we're used to doing it that way. And that's sort of how we speak and whatnot. We don't normally speak in formal tone. So it could be a little bit of a learning curve. But I will go through on your drafts and I will correct any time I see it. It like flags at me now. So I will, I'll flag it for you and let you know, oops, you got to switch that. But you do have to reword it. So how would I reword that last sentence? So I would say, instead of saying we all need to get together, I would say society needs to get together and help this cause take place in our country. Okay, so do you hear that difference? One is we all need to get together. The formal tone is society needs to get together. So you might say, you don't know, or you need to read this section in order to understand this. And I would say the reader needs to review this section. So do you hear I replace the personal pronoun with reader? And so that's what you want to do throughout this whole paper. It's real important. All right. We will also be, I'm going to be really picky on going through your citations. And pretty much this essay, almost everything should be cited. It's, this is, if you didn't get it from your brain, it needs to be cited. And I'm going to say something else that's a little tricky, is that let's say you did know the information, you knew it, maybe you work in that field, and you quoted a stat. You still need to cite it. And I know that seems so frustrating. And it's like, well, I know that information. Why do I have to cite it? But you need to cite it because it's for your protection, and it's also to give credibility to your paper. So just make sure that you are doing that and you are citing just about everything. Now, with citation, I did want to go over one thing here. There's 3 different ways that we cite, and you guys all know this. There's direct quote. And this is, I know, just review. Direct quote is when you take something word for word. Use information word for word from another source. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry. Use information from another source. Now, when you do that, and I'm going to give you an example. So, example would be, see here, he was a professional in his field. Okay, and I'm going to make up, I'm going to say Smith, and we don't have to even use page numbers or anything if it's an electronic source. Most of yours will. Now, with direct quote, why is this flagging this? Sorry guys, it's bugging me. With direct quote, you have to always put the citation. The citation must go right after the quoted information. Has to go right after it, okay? It can't go anywhere else. It's just got to be right after that. Okay, now the other kind of citation that you would use, and actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to label this citation and put a Roman numeral by it. Okay, and I'm going to change this to 1. Okay, and then we've got 2. The other type is paraphrase. Oh, and I do want to say, sorry, I'm going to jump back up to the direct quote. Direct quote can be no more than 40% of your content can be direct quote. Now, this is where when you turn in your essays to the Dropbox, you have that, the turn it in and it says the similarity percentage. That's what I'm referring to there. You can't have it more than 40. So if you do have it more than 40, you need to go in and maybe paraphrase some of those direct quotes that you've used, put them in your own words, which is this next one here. The majority of your paper is going to be paraphrase. And paraphrase is using someone else's information. Let's see, I'll say using another source information, but putting it into your own words. Okay, so you're putting it into your own words. This is the majority of your essay should be this. Now, as long as, and I'm going to type this, as long as you are using the same source, you can cite the information every 3 to 4 sentences. Okay, but if you switch sources, let's say you have one sentence and it's from Smith, the next sentence, even though it's paraphrased, is from Johnson, and then you switch back to Smith, you're still going to have to cite. If it switches, you're going to still have to cite after that information once it's finished. But with paraphrasing, you can get by with only going about every 3 to 4 sentences. So that actually is a really nice change with the new MLA 8. Used to be that you had to do every sentence, but that really becomes distracting when you're reading an essay. It does, and now you don't have to as much. The final one is summary, and summary is just giving a condensed overview of something you've read. Okay, and this one also, same citation rules apply. As for the paraphrase. Okay, so I hope that this will kind of help you. And I have no idea, I'm going to fix this up before I actually turn it in for you guys. Once we get done recording, I'll fix up some of my typos in here. But those are just some things that I wanted to go over with you for this argument essay. And I'm going to stop the share. So please, if you have any questions at all, just let me know. And I'm so excited. Like I said, your topic ideas are fantastic. I really am excited to read your essays. And I am here for you, so email me anytime, and I will give you very detailed feedback, especially now that we know how to read feedback. Boy, that was crazy. But anyway, I'm here for you. I will give you as much feedback or as little as you want throughout the essay, and just email me, and that's how I know. You do have to put it into the Dropbox for me to be able to give you the feedback. I can't do it any other way. It's got to go through there. But I will be giving you a lot of feedback and a lot of help, so I'm here for you. Also, just a quick reminder, don't forget that you also will have a visual presentation that's due on the last day of class, I think it is, and we'll put those on into the Dropbox so that everybody can view yours and make comments like we've been doing. And so be thinking about that as well. And really the examples are there. You can go to week 10, I think it's either week 9 or week 10, and the visual presentation examples are there. Look at those so you know what's coming. And but you could do it before your paper, but really it's just a skeleton. All it is it's your outline put into a visual form, and that's really all it is. It's just your outline. You don't have to have, anywhere near the depth that you would for your argument paper. So anyway, again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I am here for you. I cannot even sort of begin to believe that we are in week 9. But it's just been a great time with you all, and I hope you have a great rest of the summer, and I'll hopefully talk to you all soon. Thanks so much.